When my daughter was born, I felt an immense pressure to measure up because I was a younger mum and I was unmarried. We didn't get married till my daughter was 5 months old, and then we got divorced again 2 years later. We were living with my parents for the first 3 months, so I really felt this pressure. I wasn't one of those mums who had the house and the career and the stability of a relationship. We had absolutely no money. So when the health visitor came over in the early weeks and gave me a quiz about postnatal depression, I scored incredibly highly. She said, "Oh yes, but you're obviously not depressed," and completely dismissed it and started talking about something else. I didn't have the confidence then to say, well, actually, I do feel like I might be depressed. I'm not coping very well. There are elements that I could do with some support and help, because I felt that immense pressure to be a certain standard, and it felt like admitting failure if I said that I needed support. So I just kept quiet. And I think the reason why she assumed I wasn't depressed was because I was very good at putting on a facade and presenting this front where I was very glamorous and very put together. It was 9 o'clock in the morning and she'd come to my house. I had a tiny baby and I was very, very nicely presented. So she assumed that I wasn't remotely depressed. And I think, like a lot of mums in that situation, I had this feeling that if I admitted to not feeling quite right emotionally, it would in some way reflect my ability as a mother, or suggest that perhaps I didn't absolutely adore my child, which obviously I did. And I think we need to change that. It's like, you can have depression and still love being a mum. You can have depression and still be a fantastic mum. It doesn't take any of that love away. So another common misconception is that it's purely the hormonal shift that causes postnatal depression. And in the first couple of weeks, when you get your baby blues and you're feeling vulnerable and emotional, which is incredibly common, that's true. But the sustained postnatal depression, that sustained deep depression, isn't just hormones. They contribute a small amount, it can trigger it, but there's lots of other factors that have been discovered. Things such as a history of depression, a family history of depression, an unsatisfactory relationship with your partner, and not having adequate support. These can all contribute to depression. So if you're pregnant and you have got a history of depression, or someone in your family has had depression in the past, I think it's really important to take care after giving birth and be aware that you may have these feelings. Also, if your relationship isn't ideal, if you can get extra support elsewhere, that can make a huge difference. And yeah, getting support, it's not always easy to find support, but you need a network. And whether it's something, an online, a virtual network, there's so much out there nowadays. It's reaching out to other people and asking for help as well, going to baby groups, talking to your doctor and talking to your health visitor and friends and family. Reaching out to other people can make a huge difference. It's important as well to remind yourself that it's surprisingly common. 1 in 10 women experience postnatal depression in the first year after giving birth. So you're not alone and you're not a failure. And I think as well, one of the most important things is to remember that it will pass. If you don't get help, you can get stuck there, but with the right help, you can get through this, and you're not alone. And you've just got to take the steps you need to get through it, and you will. But it's just taking that first step and looking for help outside. For depression, not just postnatal depression, there's lots of things you can do to help with depression. Things like avoiding alcohol. Personally, I find alcohol is a real depressant and brings me right down. If I feel remotely vulnerable, I will stay away from it. Exercise, daily exercise is a fantastic way to sort your head out, relieving stress and giving you an endorphin boost and things like that. And being around people who make you feel good, and friends who you can talk to and have a great time with, is always important. I think it's also really good to try and avoid people who are negative, who have a negative impact on your life, and limit your time with them, especially if you're in that postnatal period and you're feeling vulnerable. And it's hard to avoid stress many times in your life, but if there's stress that you have to face, then just make sure you do get the downtime as well. Lack of sleep is a horrible thing, and this is why the first year of having a baby can be so difficult, because if sleep loss makes you feel worse and you've got a little one, it's incredibly hard. But finding time to get that sleep you need, and if it means that when your baby naps in the day, you leave the housework, then definitely put yourself first. You need to sort that out and get support where you can. Ask people to take care of the baby while you catch up on your sleep. That's so important. You can only really give yourself fully to your child if you're in a good space. So remember, you need to practice good self-care to be a great parent. Mindfulness is a wonderful thing as well. If you can practice mindfulness, that will make a huge difference to your mental outlook. Doesn't sound easy to do when you've got a little one. Meditation when you've got a newborn seems absolutely an alien concept, but it's fitting into the life you have. So if you're going for a walk and your baby's in the buggy, or you've got your baby in a sling, that's a lovely time. Just walk, feel the sun and breathe and look at the beautiful things around you and just slow down your pace of life. And you can do the same when you're feeding, whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, enjoying that calm and that moment, connecting and bonding with your baby to practice mindfulness. And it's a really helpful thing to do. But most importantly, just know you're not alone. Many women get through this, and don't be ashamed in admitting. As soon as we can admit where we're going wrong or where we're any problems or worries we have, other people will feel they can share that honesty. So be the one who says in your friendship group, who says, actually, I don't feel great, I'm feeling a bit crappy, I'm feeling a bit emotional. And other people will have permission to open up too. So I think the most important thing to do is to look after yourself, to not feel alone, to know you're not alone, and to take that first step. And from then on, things will get better.